In a world of crossovers, SUVs and double cab buckies, vehicles like these are a breath of fresh air. The bespoke, enthusiast-orientated sports car is sadly dying. It's reserved for those super premium brands and inaccessible to the mere mortal. I need to thank Aika Toyota from Toyota for being prepared to still make vehicles like this. In fact, I'm going to thank him for the entire GR brand. The GR Yaris, the GR Supra, the GR86, and coming soon to South Africa, the GR Corolla. Now, I'm not here to do a full review on this vehicle. My compatriot Tay has already done that, and you can check our YouTube channel for that full review video. What I'm here to do is to tell you what this vehicle is like in the hands of an enthusiast that's going to take it to a track. So here we go, very much as the way you would if you were attending a track day at Swartkops Raceway. It is a 2.4 kilometer circuit with 8 turns, and they host track events like the Super Track Sunday. So this is the type of vibe that you would have, where you'd want to bring your GR86. Man, this is a good car. All right, let's dive into a couple of the details around the car. Just high level, like I say, we're not going to go into it too much depth here. It is powered by a 2.4 litre flat 4 Subaru-derived engine, the FA24D. It produces 174 kilowatts and 250 newton meters of torque. This means that this manual version, 6-speed manual, will do 0 to 100 in 6.4 seconds. It sends power to the rear wheels through a Torsen limited slip differential, and it has 5 different driving modes. So a regular mode here, a track mode, and then you can turn stability off and traction control off. It's the way that this car is balanced though that is so fantastic. They've managed to lower the center of gravity in this new ZN8 version, and they've moved the weight ever so slightly back. So it is one of those vehicles that lets you work with it, depending on how enthusiastic you get with things like the throttle. Now, the one little weak point of this car, sadly, is the brakes. The brakes, well, they don't live up to the repeated punishment. And after a few laps, well, they're going to fade on you. Where the previous ZN6 Toyota 86 was fitted with low rolling resistance Michelin primacy tires, the same that you'd find on a Prius, this one is fitted with Michelin Pilot Sport 4s. And you can still get them quite unstuck. This is such a phenomenal chassis, they really have. They've improved on this car every step of the way. The steering feels better, the handling is better, the power delivery is better. It is such a joy to drive. Stability control in this car makes a world of difference, but this track mode really allows you to play with it. It really does allow quite a bit of slip. It's a great mode, and it will still intervene when things get a little hairy. But you can play with it. You can get the chassis to rotate. What an excellent car. All right, so you're taking your car out to the track here to Swartkops, the Super Tracks Day. What can you expect? Well, join me and let me talk you through a lap here at Swartkops in a GR86. We come out of 7 and into 8 here. and we're fairly hard on the brakes pretty late after the 50-meter mark, you may think that you want second gear, but third gear is enough. Turn it in. There's a lot of rumble strips on the outside, and you can use those, so you can run a little bit wide. Turn one's a little tricky. Quick change into fourth, a dab of the brakes, or a little bit of a confidence lift, and you turn it in. You aim for an early apex there, but then it's hard on the brakes, and down 2 gears for the hairpin right. Start applying the power, open up the steering wheel, snatch third, and you can go into the third corner flat. We select fourth a little early there just to settle the car, run it wide. Fourth corner is tricky, needs a dab of brakes. You'll be tempted to change down, but you don't need to. The mid-range torque delivery of the GR allows it to pull you out from 3,700 RPM. Then you climb the hill up into a 90-degree turn 5. Wait until about 50 meters to hit the brakes. Third gear here, pitch it in, and don't be scared to let it run a little bit wide. Then it's just a dab of the brakes to settle the car and to change the rotation. And you turn in for the right-hander, that is 6, and then a quick left for 7, which you can cut quite nicely. Then you're heading back down the hill into turn 8. The thing is, the Toyota GR86 is such a good car that Toyota has decided to go racing with it, and they've created the GR Cup, the GR86 Cup. In its first year, it is a media challenge, and this sees journalists from around the country competing in identically spec'd GR86s. And you know what? I'm one of them. To get a better idea of this, we've come down to the Toyota Gazoo Racing headquarters, this new facility out here at Swartkops Raceway in Pretoria East, to take a look at one of the GR Cup cars. Actually, my GR Cup car. It is a GR86, it's a 2023 model, a brand new vehicle, and it has been prepared for racing. And yes, I am participating along with those other media competitors in the 2023 GR Cup season. And it's really exciting. But what makes this car so special? These cars are spec cars. When we say spec, it means that all the vehicles in the category are exactly the same. But this takes spec, well, to an extra level, because all the cars are identical, even down to their setup and tire pressures. We don't have any say in that. We must just drive the car as it is. But they have worked it a little bit. The engines still stock standard except for an exhaust. That exhaust frees up 10 kilowatts, which means that we now have 184 kilowatts. The biggest changes come in the corners because these GR86s are shod with Dunlop semi-slick tires, courtesy of ATS. And then they've also partnered with Power Brake and Ferodo to get us a set of big brakes. 345mm discs with 4-pot calipers, Ferodo race pads, and Ferodo racing brake fluid. That is probably the biggest difference that you're going to find on this car. Suspension, well, that is stock standard, believe it or not. The rest of the car is virtually identical. There's almost no changes. There's no wide body, fancy vents. We just get a carbon fiber wing. We're not really going fast enough or making enough power to really need it, so this is just to make it look racy. And it does an admirable job of that. Let's take a look inside where they've made a few more changes. Inside, well, they've stripped things out, but not entirely. There's still a dashboard, there's still carpets up front, but they've removed the rear seats and the passenger seat here, and they have fitted a full roll cage. This is thanks to the guys at Fast Development. The rest is very, very stock. They've given us a fire extinguisher, but let's hop around that side to the driver's side and I'll show you some of the other changes. Keeping us in place is this OMP TRSE bucket seat. It is FIA certified, which means that, well, we're good to go for racing. And then we've got some TRS harnesses here, 6-point, so we don't move about. This does mean that we need to wear full race gear whenever we drive these cars, as hitting your head on a hard roll cage isn't pretty. The steering wheel is standard. It still has aircon. It still has a working radio and speakers. So yes, I can listen to my music when I'm waiting in the car. Something you may have noticed though is this. Yep, they're all automatic. Having run into a few problems with over-eager drivers and some flat shifting last year, Toyota elected to make the racing even closer by equipping them with automatic gearboxes. Of course, the GR86 is available as both a 6-speed manual and an automatic, and we have the automatic versions here. Yes, it removes a pedal, but it means that the racing is so much closer because now, well, we can't miss shifts. But what is all of this like to drive? Come, join me on track. It is very loud in here, so I'm hoping that you can hear me. So I have to wear full race gear for this, which includes a harness device. So this harness device locks my head in with these straps so that my head can't flip too far forward. That is, of course, part of the reason why we lost Ayrton Senna, Dale Earnhardt. So getting strapped in and making sure that I'm secure also means that my head turn is somewhat limited. So if I'm not looking at you, or I look a little awkward, that's why. I had gloves around here somewhere. One glove. 2 gloves. We're going to get this one up to temperature, and then we'll start pushing on. Like I say, it is very loud in here. Like I say, we're running with the auto gearbox, but we've got manual intervention here, so it's not entirely terrible. But that's how even they wanted the racing. So, am I disappointed that I'm racing an auto? No, this auto is a fantastic auto. And it allows the racing to be super, super close. In order to improve the control, they fitted some camber bolts. And the camber bolts allow them to dial in 3 degrees of negative camber. That 3 degrees makes a world of difference. It allows you to lean on the suspension going through the corner. The mid-range torque from this 2.4 litre flat 4 engine is just phenomenal. It's one of the best things that Toyota changed about this car. It is such an enjoyable car to drive. Tires are coming up to temperature. Now I can start leaning on it. The biggest difference is definitely these brakes. They allow you to dive into a corner with such confidence without any fade. Now these aren't as quick as the GR Yarises that my colleague Sean Nurse raced last year, but the rear-wheel drive nature of this GR86 really does make it fantastic. I'm just having so much fun doing this. We can bang out lap after lap after lap on these brakes and they're not going anywhere. The two-way limited slip diff means that on the down change you get this wonderful rotation that allows you to set it up for a corner beautifully. And you have to plan it rather well, especially when you're using the auto gearbox. You can't time it with a clutch. That's one of the fun facts about the GR86. This touchscreen unit works when you've got gloves on. So I can select my iPod if I really want. And I'm not talking about the buttons on the outside, I'm talking about the actual touchscreen. That's brilliant. Love it. Now Toyota has us journalists competing in this one this year, the GR86. But the GR Yaris that raced last year, those are in the hands of some privateers, young, upcoming, budding race stars, much like a development program. I would love to see Toyota build a handful more of these, open it up to the public, where the public can also purchase a GR86 Cup car and come and race. Currently there are 6 GR86s and 6 GR Yaris in this GR Cup field. And it would be great if we had 12 of all the same car, all GR86s. So Toyota, put your thinking hats on. I think there's a market for it. This arrive and drive thing is brilliant.
Search AutoTrader.